My one good tree had beautiful apples and they were growing good. And then we had one night, the entire fence was bent down and some big black bear went right over it. There was black bear hair in the barbed wire, and all but one of the apples were gone in one night. And I don't know how to keep that thing out. I mean, how do you stop a I mean, I just need more apple trees, I guess. But how do you?
It's very hard, because when a bear smells and a bear it's a sense of smell.
Yes.
And when apples are ripe, you have what, 5 minutes for a story?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
There's a great video called "The Origins of the Apple."
Okay.
Fantastic film about it's like, what? And it's about an area of Kazakhstan that a researcher, that time it was Russia was
Soviet Union.
Right, the Soviet Union was in Kazakhstan. And this Dr. Jungalev was a researcher, and there were native apple forests. You think apples. Well, here, the forest was apple trees. That was the major, there was apple, then there was some pear, and then there was some chestnut. But the dominant species was apple. And so, anyway, I'm not going to break the story for you because it kind of weaves the whole story in it. But long story short, how they discovered in this forest that it was dominated by apples that were big, sweet, and disease-free.
That sounds like something out of mythology. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you think, how can this natural wild forest be dominated by these apple trees? And so this researcher started to look into, how come these trees, they're resistant to fire blight, they're resistant to scab, fantastic trees. In fact, researchers went and took some of those seeds and they brought them back. And in one generation of crossbreeding, they said they increased they did the work of 50 years in one crossbreeding because the genetics of these trees were so superior. Anyway, how did those trees develop? You're talking about a bear. Well, the Russian brown bear that's native to that area, the bears would come down out of the mountains in the fall time and would absolutely gorge on these apples. And it wasn't long that the bears, there's only so much apple they could eat in a day. So the bears would go around and they'd sample all the trees in a part of the forest, and they would just park themselves under the sweetest apples, the biggest, sweetest apples, because they were looking for the flesh because it's sugary and it builds fat. They didn't really care for, little crab apples with mostly seeds and very little tart flesh. That wasn't what. So the bears, with generations, selected the biggest, sweetest apples.
The same way humans do.
The same way people do. And that's how you got a wild forest of apple trees that were amazingly good. And so what the researchers did, and actually it was the researchers from Cornell, they went down there and they knew about this story. And all they did was they collected bear scats in the fall. And they said in one bear scat, they got 250 seeds on average. And those seeds, when they put them in, I mean, they were super viable and scarified. They had gone through the digestive tract and fertilized and inoculated. So they had all the mycelium to grow well. Anyway, they did really well. So Cornell has the best collection in North America of these Malus seaversi. It's basically his own apple. That's amazing. And yeah, I'd like to get some of those seeds. But just to show you how bears are so attracted to ripe apples, and they will come from far. But yeah, if you can, I heard somebody say it's really hard to get this video. I met the person who did it, Catherine Pex. We were on a train going back to Paris one year, and the stories, because she was there for 4 years doing this film, and the stories she could tell about about Dr. Jengalev and all that is stuff incredible. And they're working to try to preserve that forest.
Right.
Because like the genetic resource there is better than any collection in the world. And
yes.
it's nature selected over
yes.
hundreds of years.
Hey folks, guess what? I've started a newsletter at maritimegardening.substack.com. I'll be putting out one article a week. That's 52 articles a year. The articles expand on ideas that I mention on my videos and podcasts. And every article has a read-aloud option, so you can just listen to me read it if you're busy doing something else. You can subscribe for $30 a year or try it for $5 a month and see what you think. It's a great way to help support everything I'm doing here. But hey, there's also free content too, so if you just want to read the free stuff, that's fine too. As always, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.